everyone. This is the 3 Degrees Podcast. My name is Randy Stone. So glad you're here. So glad you made it. So glad you're here. See, let's talk about some leadership. Leadership. Some people say leadership is what? Leadership is influence. Some people say that. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I studied leadership. I was a horrible leader. Horrible. Couldn't leader my way out of a wet paper sack. Couldn't leader my way couldn't leader my way at all. Horrible leader, right? And when I discovered, hey, you're a horrible leader, I had to do something to change that. So I studied leadership. Studied it. What do you do to lead? There's a few things I learned over a long period of time about leading and leadership. Leadership, number one, leadership is the stewardship of those God has entrusted to us. Leadership is the stewardship of those God has entrusted to us. So God has entrusted people to me, not to what I can get out of them, but what I can put in them. The value I can add to someone. The value I add to someone. That is leadership. How am I going to add value to somebody so that they can add value to someone else? Adding value. It's stewardship. Leadership is about modeling. We have to model what we want. We model what we want to see other people do. If it is not as important as what somebody says or a sermon or something written, then what happens in everyday life? The modeling. A little kid, right? A little kid looks up at his parents and they say, don't smoke. But they model smoking. There's a better chance that the little kid's going to grow up smoking. The parents say, don't cuss, don't swear, don't cuss, don't swear. Bobby, don't cuss, don't swear. But they cuss and they swear. Well, Bobby is probably going to be a swearer. He's going to swear. Why? Because that's what's modeled. So it's about replicating. Replicate yourself. What are you pouring into? Are you pouring garbage into someone, or are you pouring good stuff? We're supposed to pour good stuff into the people that God has entrusted to us. What key learnings do you have? What key experiences, strength, hope? What are you putting in someone? Here's what Paul said. The Apostle Paul, who was Saul, but then he became Paul the Apostle. Apostle Saul said, follow me as I follow Christ. Follow me as I follow Christ. If people were going to follow Christ, would they follow you? Are you modeling Christ-likeness? Are you modeling that? See, when we model Christ-likeness, we push the competency down, meaning other people have opportunity to gain competency and grow. We enable the whole team to handle new opportunities because the competency, the skill level is shared around. That's leadership. It's the stewardship of those God has entrusted to us. It's the stewardship of who God has entrusted to us. Leadership is directing constructive change toward God's desired future. Leadership is directing change toward God's desired future. Listen, God must have a leader for his work. He has to have a leader for his work. He has to have someone in position. He has to have someone in position to lead what he is trying to do. He needs the church. He needs people to lead his work. So you have to position yourself. Never, never, say never, never, never take your eye off what God wants. Never take your eye off what God wants. Be mindful. Think for a change. Think for a minute. Think about what God wants. What does God want? Think about his priorities. And then focus. Focus. Never take your eye off what God wants. Don't wander off into the wilderness. Never take your eye off focus. Never take your eye off what God wants. Never wander off into the wilderness. What is the wilderness? It is minutia, crisis, chaos, anxiety, and toxicity. Don't get off into this stuff. It has nothing to do with where you're going, the priority or the vision. Speaking of vision, what's the vision? What has God told you or your ministry or your business? What is it here for? What is it here to do? What is the church here to do? The church is here to make disciples. The church is to make disciples. That's what we're here to do. The church is to save the people and give them a covenant with God that they never had before. That's what the church is to do. The church is to grow the body in depth and competency. That's what the church is to do. That's what is our purpose? What is our mission? We're not just a church. It's because the people who go to the particular church, that is what makes it unique and what makes it special. That is what gives it its character. That's what gives it its culture, is that the people who are actually there. And if the people who are actually there cannot express it, then we lose out on their gifts. We lose out. Modeling, dude, modeling is critical. Where a leader positions himself is critical to discipleship. Modeling is exemplified in crisis and conflict. James said that we should have joy in trials and tribulations. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials and tribulations. Modeling is exemplified in crisis and conflict. When things are going good, But when it's not going good, when things don't go right, when they go awry, how do you maintain, how do you model your composure? How do you do that? Number 3, the real work of a leader is to create the conditions that enable the entire workforce to adapt and participate in solving problems growing organizations face. I'll say it again. The real work of a leader is to create the conditions that enable the entire workforce to adapt and participate in solving problems that growing organizations face. They create a change culture. We create a change culture. God is a creator, an innovator, a builder, an expander, an enlarger. All of those things require change. We have a Christian, if you count yourself a Christian, is there enough evidence to convict you? You call yourself a Christian, then we have these attributes that we can change. We should be on it. We should see change and be like, I want to do that. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to develop. I want to be better. I want to die empty. I don't know about you. I want to die empty. So here's the thing. We're going to come into contact with 2 types of people. 2 types of people. Those that want to change and those that resist change. You cannot help people who do not want to change. You cannot force people to change. You're going to change and I'll just force you. You can't. Can't do it. Can't happen. No one's going to change just because you said, oh, you have to change. No one. It's not going to happen. There are points of growth in every ministry where you must improve dramatically. You could say it this way. There are points in life where we must improve dramatically so that you can rise to the next level. If we miss God's timing or opportunity, you go backwards. Why do you go backwards? I'm glad you asked. Why do we go backwards if we miss his opportunity? Because we have chosen not to let go of the weights and the sins which so easily beset us. Because God is a God of increase. He wants to do more. He wants to grow. He wants to. If we're not growing, we're going to be left behind. Someone said, if you're not growing, you might be dying. If we're not growing, see, the real work of a leader, is to get behind what, and to get under the mission of the people he's leading, to support them, to give them what they need that they can accomplish God's purpose for their lives. It's the stewardship of what the people that God has entrusted to us. It's not what we can get from them, it's what we put in. It's directing constructive change to God's future. It's to create the conditions that enable everyone to participate in what God's doing and growing. That's leadership. In fact, that's only a small portion. It's a small portion of leadership. It really is. It's a small portion. But it's the portion we had time for today. Hit like, subscribe. We're up to 93 subscribers. 93. Let's get to 100 subscribers. That would be great. That would be great. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, the ones who are watching. Appreciate you. God bless. Till next time. See you soon.